was 12:58 a.m. when I saw her for the first time. A woman standing perfectly still on the third-floor stairwell. She had long, dark hair, bare feet, and glowing red eyes that didn't blink. She wasn't supposed to be there. And I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to my core, that she wasn't human. I live on the second floor of my building, so using the stairwell is a daily routine. But tonight, the air felt different. It was colder than usual, the kind of biting cold that sinks right into your bones and settles there. As I started up the stairs, my hand gripping the cold metal railing, a prickling sensation crawled up my spine, the unmistakable feeling of being watched. I paused on the first landing and slowly looked up. That's when I saw her. She was standing on the landing between the second and third floors, almost swallowed by the shadows. Her head was tilted down, her long, tangled hair covering most of her face like a dark curtain. All I could see were two small, red glowing points of light staring directly at me. Her eyes. She was unnervingly still. It was the kind of stillness that nature abhors. No rise and fall of her chest. No shifting of weight. Not even a single twitch. Just those two red eyes, tracking my every small movement with an unnatural intensity. A wave of dread washed over me, but I forced my voice out, trying to sound calm. I whispered up the stairs. "Hey, are you okay?" Silent. Then, a voice drifted down the stairwell. It was quiet, almost a whisper, but it echoed in the enclosed space in a way that felt completely wrong. It sounded stretched and distorted. "You're late." My heart stopped beating for a second. Late? I'd never seen this woman before in my life. How could she possibly know me? How did she know I was coming home? I froze in place, my feet glued to the concrete floor. The woman didn't move. Not a single muscle. Her hands hung limply at her sides. Only her eyes moved, following me as I instinctively took a small step back. My mind was racing, trying to make sense of the situation. Was this a prank? A hallucination? But the cold and the fear felt all too real. Then, the single, fluorescent light bulb above me began to flicker. Once, twice. Then it pulsed with a sickening red glow, casting long, distorted shadows that danced across the walls like monstrous figures. In the crimson light, the woman slowly lifted her head. I heard a series of soft, wet cracking sounds, like bones grinding together as she straightened her posture. Her red eyes seemed to ignite, glowing brighter and more intensely than before. And then, she began to walk down the steps toward me. Each footstep was slow, deliberate, and echoed with a heavy thud that was too loud, too solid for her slight frame. "You came home alone," she whispered again, her voice slithering through the air. "You shouldn't have." Panic, finally, took hold. I scrambled backward, fumbling for my apartment door at the end of the short hallway. But as I turned, the hallway lights dimmed, plunging the space into near darkness. My key shook violently in my hand as I jammed it into the lock, my fingers numb and clumsy. Behind me, the heavy footsteps continued their descent. Thud, thud, thud. She reached the bottom step. She was only 10 feet away now. Her long hair shifted, sliding off her face to reveal a sight that made my stomach lurch. Her mouth was stitched shut with thick, red thread, pulled tight against her pale skin. Yet her voice still flowed out from somewhere, impossible and terrifying. "You saw me last week." My blood ran cold. Last week, a memory surfaced. I was coming home late. I heard someone crying on these same stairs. Soft, muffled sobs. I thought it was just a neighbor having a bad day. I was tired. I didn't want to get involved. I ignored it and went straight to my apartment. "I asked you to help," she whispered, the sound now seeming to come from right beside my ear. Her face twisted in an expression of pure agony. The red stitches pulled at the corners of her mouth, tearing the skin slightly with every word she spoke. "You left me there." Suddenly, flashes of memory, clearer this time, bombarded my mind. A woman, this woman, sitting on the stairs in the dark, her shoulders shaking with sobs, her hands trembling uncontrollably, and something dark dripping from her fingers onto the steps. Blood. I had walked right past her. I was too tired, too wrapped up in my own world to care. Now, she stood just inches from me, so close I could feel a deathly chill radiating from her. A single tear rolled from her glowing red eye. It wasn't water. It was a thick, dark drop of blood that traced a path down her cheek. In an instant, the remaining lights in the hallway shut off completely, plunging us into absolute blackness. I didn't wait. I slammed my apartment door shut, the sound booming in the silence, and frantically locked all 3 locks. For a moment, there was nothing. Then, I heard it. Footsteps outside my door, a slow, dragging, uneven sound, as if one of her legs was broken. The sound stopped directly in front of my door. I held my breath, listening. My back pressed against the wood. Silence. Then, I heard a whisper. Not from the hallway, but from directly behind me. "You can't lock me out." Spun around, standing in the middle of my living room, her reflection staring back at me from the large wall mirror, was the red-eyed woman. I screamed and ran, not even thinking, just moving on pure instinct. I threw myself into the bathroom and slammed the door, locking it behind me. I slid down to the floor, my body shaking uncontrollably, and stayed there all night, listening to every creak and groan of the old building. When the sun finally came up, I cautiously opened the door. The apartment was empty. The mirror showed only my own terrified reflection. But I knew it wasn't over. And tonight, as the clock on my wall ticked over to exactly 12:58 a.m., I heard it again. The slow, deliberate sound of footsteps climbing the stairs, and her whisper echoed from just outside my door. "Cold and patient. I'm still waiting for you."